If you had to think of a new mode to add to your upcoming fighting game, would you think of war-torn real-time strategy story mode? Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Ring out.
SoulCalibur, the game series with madames that breast very boobily and gentlemen with six-packs so sharp they could cut steel, was the main fighting game franchise that I played most when I was younger. Mostly known for being a 3D fighter with weapons-based combat, the franchise also featured stunning visuals and an intriguing story. The entry I'll be talking about today is SoulCalibur III, which remains my absolute favorite in the series. Developed by Project Soul, it was actually the last SoulCalibur game Namco ever published before merging with Bandai to later become Bandai Namco Entertainment. It was released on October 25, 2005 in North America, November 18, 2005 in Europe, and November 23, 2005 in Japan. It's unfortunate that the series has been dead in the water for years and basically ignored by Bamco in favor of its flagship fighting game Tekken. SoulCalibur III was apparently even supposed to receive a remaster this year, but sadly, that hasn't happened yet. Editing Rosie here to say that it ended up re-releasing for the PS Plus Classics catalog on December 16th, so enjoy! While there's plenty of features to highlight about SoulCalibur III, I wanted to focus specifically on its real-time strategy mode, Chronicles of the Sword, which tells the story of 3 countries at war. I vaguely recalled playing this mode and how difficult it was for me all those years ago, and I wanted to give it another try. So let's jump right in and give it a shot. Oh, and just a teeny tiny disclaimer. I am by no means a good fighting game player. Never have been, never will be. In fact, I would barely classify myself as a decent one. Terrible, really. More of a spammer, to be honest. Just a warning. I also didn't do any studying of tier lists or command lists, so don't expect much from that side of things either. I'm just a filthy casual. When the game starts, this cute Galaga animation plays. I always thought it was such a fun little addition. It's so cute. But then, the most terrifying thing happens. If any of you were kids during the 80s to the 2000s, you may want to avert your eyes and your ears. Utterly traumatizing. Then the opening CGI animation fades in. I have to say, this really is a beautiful animation. It's aged so well in my opinion. I used to watch it every single time I booted up the game. Both the visuals and the music are presented so well. I always loved it so much, in fact, that I even drew the Soul's Embrace imagery here when I was younger. See? Art.
SoulCalibur III. Welcome to the new stage of history.
I was straight up obsessed with this game's aesthetic. Just look at this menu screen! The water, the 2 pillars representing the titular SoulCalibur and Soul Edge, the books that fit the theme of this being a historical point in ancient times, and the music. It's all just so... chef's kiss! Although I said I'd be mainly playing Chronicles of the Sword, I can't contain my level of nostalgia. So, before jumping in, I'm gonna try out the main story mode, Tales of Souls. I already know which character I'll be playing, my old main, Talim!
Wind!
She's all about wind. Tales of Souls was a neat trip down memory lane and highlighted what I loved a lot about this game. Although each character's story is told mostly through this map screen, it always gave me a sense of adventure and intrigue at where my chosen optional path might lead. It was really neat seeing the cutscenes again too. In this cutscene specifically, I always thought it was kind of funny how LMAO gets drowned out here by the music.
You're better than I expected. Your skills are quite impressive.
There's even QuickTime events in some of these scenes, which I thought was really weird for a fighting game to have at the time. They're even featured in characters' endings. Talim's is tapping the guard button or the X button a bunch of times to destroy Soul Edge.
Well, yeah.
Even after everything I told you.
Ah, come on. It's okay. It's gone now anyway.
It's not okay.
Okay, I have to break out a character here and mention that this line from Talum has been an inside joke between me and my sister for years. We say this a lot whenever one of us goes, "It's okay." The other will respond, "It's not okay." I just wanted to mention that real quick because it was surreal hearing it again. Oh yeah, and I can't forget the credits. The theme played here, called Path of Destiny, is so incredibly good. I encourage all of you to go listen to the whole thing. And I like the graphics here, but for some reason, I always laughed at this one because it kind of looks like a tornado is about to engulf Kilik and Changhua. I don't know why my brain has always made me see that, but I've never been able to unsee it.
The legend will never die.
It did die. Like, back in 2018. I unlocked some features in the shop after that playthrough and decided to take a look. There's the weapon shop.
Hi there!
Where you, of course, buy new weapons. The armor shop.
Welcome to my store!
Where you can purchase different gear and hairstyles for your created characters. And finally, the item shop.
Welcome.
Where you can get minigames or miscellaneous side content to view in the museum menu, like illustrations, character weapon demos, etc. Yep, a bunch of things to enjoy outside of Chronicles of the Sword. Speaking of, let's finally hop into that. While the story here does reference a bit of SoulCalibur's lore, it doesn't dive that deep into it, like, at all, since it's a standalone story, so don't worry about that. So when you start a new game, you're prompted to create a character who will serve as the protagonist of the story. Because I'm very humble, I decide to play as myself. Next, you select a job. It determines your fighting style, your stats, and the types of disciplines you can unlock later on. Since the main job I played in Final Fantasy XIV for years was Dancer, I thought it might be fun to play as that. I later come to deeply regret this decision. Also important to note, you can't change your job once you start a new game. From here, we can finally start customizing our character. Since I don't have many options unlocked, I chose to just use the default Dancer appearance and simply adjust the colors and face option. Since she represents moi, I named her Rosie. She turned out sorta cute, I think. Next, we see the intro to Chronicles of the Sword. I can't do it justice by just describing it to you, so I'm just gonna let it play.
This is another tale of souls and swords. Once there existed on a great continent 3 countries, the Grandall Empire, the Kingdom of Dalkia, and the Haltese Republic. The Kingdom of Dalkia and the Haltese Republic waged a great war against one another for countless years. The Grandall Empire stayed out of the conflict, amassing their army quietly. In a time when King Chester, the great tactician and instigator of the war which later came to be known as the Mantis War, had not yet appeared in the annals of history. The key figure in the war was a mere cadet of the Grandall army.
I know that entire thing by heart, by the way. So yeah, if it wasn't obvious enough, the cadet of the Grandall army that's mentioned here is us. Before we can move on to the real Chronicles, we first must tackle the art of war, or the tutorial. At the start of each Chronicle, you're shown a textual prologue that gives you the rundown and the setup for whatever's about to happen in the story. Here we're introduced to Abelia, a fellow cadet, and General Gerardo, who will be our instructor. Gerardo explains that we, baby birds, need to carefully issue commands to our forces on the battlefield, or they could lose their lives. Then I'm given a big old text dump of instructions. It's a bit annoying to read all this, but the mechanics are easy. You're then shown the conditions for victory and defeat, which happen on every Chronicle. They change sometimes here and there, but for the most part it'll always be take the enemy's main stronghold. Next, you'll be choosing who to bring with you on the battlefield. You guys okay? There's a limited number of units or soldiers that you can bring with you on a Chronicle, with a max of 5. No matter what, your created character will always be required to enter the battle. Next, you're given the map. which will show you where your units will be starting out and also where the enemy units will be starting out. Starting the gameplay now, and General Gerardo then says he'll explain all the different commands that you can use per Chronicle, before immediately dumping another textual explanation on me. Okay, now I'm starting to think he's just lazy. You can move a unit along a predefined route by selecting the spot you want each of them to go. If they run into obstacles like enemy strongholds or enemy units, they'll start fighting. Strongholds can house units inside where they'll heal up over time. If your unit is inside a stronghold, you can use gold to fortify it, which gives it more health, defense, and becomes a respawn point for KO'd units. Once a stronghold's HP is depleted, you'll trigger a
Decisive battle.
This means you'll be entering a SoulCalibur style battle. This battle was pretty easy, but trust me, that won't last. Your units will receive some experience points after the battle, whether you win or lose, and their stats will increase when they level up. When a stronghold is defeated, it becomes your property.
It's free real estate.
Gerardo then explains that I was gradually losing health in that battle. Honestly, it went by so fast I didn't even notice. Basically, this is just to introduce that some strongholds will have area effects on them, which can place you at a disadvantage. After some more battles, I go on to take the main stronghold. At the end of every Chronicle, you'll receive gold based on what you did. You can also see on the screen any of the units that have joined you. Now we finally come to our very first Chronicle, called Day by Day. We'll be facing Abelia from earlier, who's apparently the sharpest woman at the Academy. In that case, I expected to see some pretty great tactics from her then. Someone says, I'm not sure who's talking since they show no name, that since it's a practice battle, they'll let us keep our lives when we lose. Major tough guy energy right there, ooh, look out. Rosie, as in in-game Rosie, realizing in a real battle situation that there would be no tomorrow for her, she decides that defeat is not an option. Before starting, you have the option to shop and spend all that hard-earned gold. This is actually a good idea, since better weapons with better effects will unlock as you progress. Oh, and their cosmetic value can't be ignored either. During the practice battle, I easily make my way to the main stronghold, and inside, we're treated to a cutscene with Abelia.
Good luck to you. Fight with all your might, as I will.
Battle 1. Fight!
Unfortunately, my footage lags quite a bit here, but let it be known that I got a perfect in this battle.
Did you enjoy my dance?
After winning, Abelia exclaims, "Were my tactics not good enough?" Oh, Abelia, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm sure any seasoned commander will tell you that sitting in your castle and sending 2 whole soldiers to fight the enemy and doing literally nothing else is a great strategy. You'll get him next time, champ, no worries. Chronicle 2, Leaving the Nest. It seems like it's time for Rosie to take her final test at the Academy, and General Gerardo himself will be our opponent. Ooh, we're on a desert stage this time. Man, PlayStation 2 games had some amazing graphics. I just love all the details in the backgrounds for this mode. Okay, we have to fight Gerardo now, who flatly welcomes the challenge.
You are strong. One day, you will succeed in life. Of course, only if you manage to defeat me.
My footage lags here again, sorry. Don't worry, I fixed this eventually when I noticed. Just know that I wrecked Gerardo and leveled up. We pass the test and prepare for our very first real battlefield experience in Chronicle 3, Live by the Sword. After graduating, Rosie became a commander entrusted with a border garrison. Sick! She decides to reflect on herself for a moment and wonder what it is she's fighting for. Subtly, brigands are spotted near the border and it's time to deploy. Mega here remarks that, based on how they move, these are no ordinary brigands. We also get a glimpse of this mysterious man. I swear, this is the last time my footage lags super bad. I'm sorry! We get to the mysterious man who says, "It's time you die, most likely, I can't remember. And then we fight! After beating him with Mega,
I'm itching.
he says,
I have absolutely no intention of dying here.
he does a backflip, salutes, and then jumps off the stage. Chronicle 4, Battlefield Moon. It's explained that several days later, the Kingdom of Dalkia suddenly declared war on Grandall, citing that it's a retaliation because Grandall's soldiers were spotted amongst the fleeing brigands. Obviously a setup. Rosie is terrified at the events to come in a real war and wants to protect her future. So for now, she would take up the sword. Or tambourines, whichever works. Apparently, Grandall's soldiers are already on the losing end of this battle, but we reinforcements arrived just in time to face Miss Looney Luna over here. So this stage was business as usual until I bring down this tent here and what do you know, Astaroth, a standard character in the series, was hiding inside. He's level 60 by the way.
Final battle, fight!
Let's end this!
Yeah. Turns out there can be strong SoulCalibur characters in some of these strongholds. You best believe I start checking every single one before I bring them down from this point onwards. Next, I take on Luna.
You're certainly a handful. I shall remember your name, as you are the only one who has provided a worthy challenge.
After defeating her, easily, I must say, she gets upset and orders a retreat. This causes all of the enemy units to move into their main stronghold. Great, now I have 5 enemies I have to take down in a row.
I'm itching.
It's the Battle of the Itches. After winning, we move on to Chronicle 5, Bridge to Hatred. Rosie, after obtaining her first victory in a real battlefield, struggles to even call it a victory since there was so much loss of life. Although she wants time to grieve, the next order her troop receives is to counterattack Dalkia. Having doubts about attacking to defend, she's interrupted by a familiar voice, Abelia, who pushes her to continue the fight in order to bring it to an end. This time we have an extra loss condition, that we lose this big old bridge here. It was once a bridge for commerce between Grandall and Dalkia, but now at a time of war it has to be defended so that Grandall can move its giant forces into Dalkia. It's pretty noticeable here that the gameplay is mostly the same in every single level. You'll be moving some units along a route to fight some enemies, you'll do a little bit of SoulCalibur fighting, avoid the SoulCalibur character placed on the map somewhere, then you'll eventually take on the main stronghold, rinse, and repeat. Although simple enough that anyone can play this mode, it does get quite repetitive. Still, I move on to Chronicle 6, The Moon Wears Silver Armor. Now we've pushed through to the outskirts of Revlis, Dalkia's capital. We'll be facing Luna again, but this time with her 4 closest comrades. One of them, Age, mentions Luna's loss against us the other day, and Hildo here tells her to keep her voice down because that's been really bothering her. You ladies do realize you're currently at war on a battlefield, and not your high school clique's favorite cafeteria table, right? I'm with you, Loopy. Lupi? I'm not really sure. But anyway, I eventually take on Luna again.
So we meet again. Now, it's time to collect on your debt.
She has a buff of gradually healing over time, and her attacks pack a massive hit behind them, especially considering that, as a dancer, I don't have a whole lot of vitality. But I'm able to defeat her, after also defeating her girl group. I move on to Chronicle 7, Unfulfilled Heart. The Haltese Republic has invaded Grandall. We're ordered to turn over command of the Dalkia offensive to Abelia and make our way to break through Haltese's western defensive wall. Further, we're to advance to Haltese's capital and then wait and support the main Grandall forces when they arrive. All ordered by the Emperor, Strife. Geez, isn't this kind of a lot for my tiny unit of a few soldiers? No one in my unit is very happy with the arrangement and feels that this is a mission destined to fail. Suddenly, Gerardo appears and decides to join us. Well, alright, we got our general with us. Entering the battle, this guy, Halfus, is almost insulted that our small unit was all that was sent to fight here. Anyway, this all goes exactly how you'd expect if you've been paying attention. Bam, bam, bam! Victory, victory, victory! Enemy doesn't stand a chance. I eventually faced that Halfus guy with an icy floor debuff, But, of course, I still win. Assert dominance. I'm good at this game. As long as you ignore that I did this in the very next battle. We go on to attack the enemy's main stronghold, and Halphus, who fled here after his defeat, gets dealt with by this woman, Mooncalf. She says Haltisse is better off destroyed, but she won't let us be the ones to do it. We battle, and win, of course. Next is Chronicle 8, City of Coffins. Appropriately named because when Rosie's unit arrives in the Haltisse capital, Epistema, it's already in ruins. Apparently, another kingdom's army, Maletta, along with Dalkia, are the ones responsible. We see this woman, Queen Aurelia of Dalkia, talking to this guy I defeated earlier about their plans. He mentions that Abelia appeared here but was apparently no threat. They're following the plans from this man they don't trust. Oh, it's the mysterious man from a while ago who set up Grandall to be attacked by Dalkia. So he's pulling a lot of strings behind the scenes. Whoa, okay, this is a pretty big map. Our unit arrives, shocked to find Haltisse already occupied. The main enemy this time around is this man, Heil, and Mooncalf again, who mentions that she took care of the old Haltisse royal family. The two apparently are working together. Gerardo mentions that they didn't even show mercy to the Haltisse troops who surrendered, and asks what I plan to do. It's true that we could just leave them here. But our protagonist decides to save them. Gerardo says that her soft heart could cost her life, but he still gladly jumps in to help. We need to save at least 3 of the 5 surviving Haltisse soldiers, but getting to some of them proved to be a challenge since there's a bunch of strongholds in the way. I also didn't realize the enemy units were gonna make a beeline for each of them, and dang. Well, it's okay. After restarting, I managed to save the easier to reach soldiers. Gerardo and Eurydice here discuss how they find it strange that Queen Aurelia of Dalkia and King Demuth of Maletta, working together, could have brought down Haltisse. Gerardo already realizes there's a greater power at play. By this point, I was starting to realize choosing Dancer may have been a mistake. With so little vitality, I'm losing my HP in just a few hits.
Battle 1. Fight!
Out of the way!
Nothing I can do now since, as I pointed out before, you can't change your job once you start. So I'm kinda stuck like this. Oh well, maybe the skill will just come to me. I managed to make it to Mooncalf and defeat her before moving on to attack the main stronghold. Very slowly. Yep, this stronghold sure has a lot of health. Just gonna wait around, I guess, until, okay, alright, we're starting out. So, okay, I just want you to watch this entire battle, uninterrupted, okay? Just watch.
Battle 1. Fight!
Out of the way!
I really regret picking Dancer. Honestly, this guy Heil is very strong, and with his buff to break my guard, I'm having a hard time. Obviously, the enemies are definitely starting to get tougher now. And I don't want to be that guy, but I'm also starting to feel like they're reading my button inputs too. I'm not salty, I swear. At least I finish him off with Gerardo in a very satisfying manner.
You picked the wrong person to fight.
Bros really are farming. The Maletta troops retreat, and the Haltisse soldiers I managed to save are shocked at Rosie's humane action of saving them in a time of war and decide to join us. In Chronicle 9's Scarlet Melody, the prologue here deviates from the typical formula and is told in a series of quotes. I order you to pursue the fleeing enemy and advance into Maletta. But the enemy has allied with Dalkia and has already engaged our forces. We are completely on the defensive. Then hold your current position, regardless of the casualties. What? At least send reinforcements or permit a temporary retreat. I said, hold your current position. Repeat your orders, Gerardo. Our highest priority is to hold our current position, regardless of casualties to Rosie's unit. I expect to hear of your success. Ugh. I hope you like my acting. Heil and Mooncalf are still alive somehow, and we learn that Mooncalf was chased out by the old Maltese royal family and that her daughter was taken from her by them. Now we'll be facing the allied forces of Maletta and Dalkia alone, since Grandall refused to send those reinforcements. After taking the first enemy stronghold, Luna and her team suddenly arrive along with some guy named Kirkis and his forces. Luna's people immediately advance on my main stronghold. I immediately send everyone back to the main stronghold as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, I have Gerardo intercept Luna's squad to buy time. Luna wants to fight me, not Gerardo, but that's too bad. You're getting Gerardo.
You picked the wrong person to fight.
My strategy is to face the remaining Luna squad members with each character as they arrive at the main stronghold. Eileen, one of the Maltese soldiers, is pretty strong, and I managed to defeat 2 of them with her alone. Rosie, me, hi, hello, yeah, I fail again. Shocker. But I managed to finish the last 2 off with Gerardo and Jinkai. Mainly Jinkai. I'm surprised I managed to get through all that in my first attempt. After pushing forward a little more to the main enemy stronghold, we face Heil again.
You deserve that.
Afterwards, he retreats. Glad that's over with. Next, we get to Chronicle 10, The Value of Life. Here, Rosie is referred to as a war goddess, even though I'm failing in every single battle I'm playing as her in. We've advanced into Untide, the capital of Maletta. Dalkia annulled their alliance with Maletta to focus on defending themselves. Since the Emperor ordered Rosie's unit to advance, she continues forward. The war goddess line is repeated here once again, clearly to highlight our character's conflicted feelings on her role in this war. She wants to be a protector, not someone who wages war on others. But because of the situation, she has no choice. We see Heil looking for Mooncalf and finds her being tortured by Kirkis, who says she was trying to end King Demuth. She laments her situation by cursing her fate before uttering the name of her taken daughter, Luna! Oh, so that's why she's called Mooncalf. Makes sense. Heil then says he was too late. Gerardo is shocked by what happened to Mooncalf, but decides it's none of our business. Since Rosie keeps losing over and over, I decide to pop back into the shop to get a new dancer weapon. I end up buying the tambourines called Menards! Okay, I know it's probably pronounced like Menards or something, but come on. Menards! And what do you know? They're even star-shaped! Perfect! I can't possibly fail with these, right? Kirkis orders the Malettan soldiers to lay down their lives for their country and asks Heil to join them. Heil objects, but Kirkis tells him he doesn't understand his position and that a certain man has already assumed full control. He also tells Heil he's in no position to complain and calls him a traitorous pig. Heil realizes from this that Mooncalf told them everything about whatever their plan was. He's shocked they still want to use him as a pawn, even though they know everything already. And Kirkis says that under normal circumstances, they would have dealt with him already, but that their king is merciful. This concerns Heil greatly, and he asks where King Demuth is. Good question, Heil. Let's check in on King Demuth and he's being dethroned. By the mysterious man, no less. Obviously, he was the person pulling the strings behind Maletta's advanced tactics on the battlefield, and he's ready to take the throne for himself. Demuth is forced to fight Grandall first before he can deal with the mysterious man, though. Okay, it's time to explain how frustrated this level made me. Everything goes the same as always. I take some strongholds, I lose even with Menards, yada yada. But then comes this mid-level stronghold with the arena effect offense down. You need to take this stronghold because it's the only route through to the main one. It's actually blocking it. You fight both King Demuth and Heil here.
A pathetic cur like you dares to take on this country, this king?
Battle 1. Fight!
I managed to get in some good hits as Rosie here at least. Also, the king is pretty flexible, by the way. After defeating him, I move on to fight Heil. As you recall, he gave me quite a hard time earlier in his previous fights. Well, this time he's absolutely absurd. He's perfectly countering me, constantly. He's pulling off combos like crazy. He's closing in the distance with me, even though I try to stay as far away as I possibly can. And every battle results in defeat. Again and again and again, I lose over and over and over. As a very average player who's not going to study up on frame advantages or fundamentals or anything like that, this is really, really hard. I even got super desperate enough that I started spamming like I've never spammed before. I mean, nothing was working. I seriously considered ending my video right here because I was at a loss. Kyle really meant it when he said he wasn't gonna surrender. It really is difficult watching all of my poor soldiers charge to attack this one guy and failing constantly. Not to mention, the offense down effect was seriously kicking my butt. Because I was gonna give up, I finally just said, screw it, throw all 5 of my soldiers at him at once. I was keeping at least one back at all times to make sure I didn't fail the entire Chronicle if I lost in the team battle, because you need at least one soldier alive so you don't get a game over. But at this point, I was slowly going insane, and I thought, you know what, if I lose here, that's it. I'll just end my playthrough here and call it a day. But I'm sure you've noticed by now that this video's runtime keeps going, because somehow this strategy actually worked. I finally defeat Hyle! I honestly couldn't believe it. And I only lost 2 characters in that final attempt, wow. No time to rest though, as Kirkis orders all the remaining enemy troops to attack me and my newly gained stronghold. After a couple battles and defensive maneuvers, I defeat them all mercifully. Finally, I go on to fight Kirkis himself. The battle starts immediately when you come into contact with him. So in other words, it's a forced SoulCalibur style fight. He's also really strong, but thankfully, because he's outside a stronghold in the overworld, he can't heal, so I win. To the main stronghold! We're fighting the mysterious man again now, whose real name is Chester.
All right. Surprised? Well, it's just as you see. I must protect this country. I had this brilliant plan of pitting Grandall and Dalkia against one another, and then rise to power during the resulting chaos. But because of your unexpected meddling, my plan is in ruins. You will pay dearly for this.
Battle 1, fight!
Of course, Menards are no match for him, and I lose.
What? I can't believe this!
I can! But it's okay. I managed to take him out with Jinkai after this. Chester curses us ominously, and this Chronicle is cleared. Oh my gosh, thank goodness. We're now at Chronicle 11, Guardians of the Moon. Just keep in mind anytime a Chronicle's title mentions moon in it, you're gonna be fighting Luna. Untide, the capital of Maletta, has fallen. Turns out, Chester the Tactician... Oh!
In a time when King Chester, the great tactician and instigator of the war which later came to be known as the Mantis War.
So he's that Chester. Huh, I never realized that. Anyway, he worked together with some rebels within Grandall who wanted to stage an all-out rebellion. Because they were found out, they were all executed. Rosie is conflicted with the fact she caused the end of an entire country and wonders what Abelia would say to her in this moment. Then she realizes she's heard nothing about Abelia for a long time, since comms with Grandall forces were still cut off. So she heads straight for Dalkia without waiting for her next orders. We find Abelia, who's managed to make it to essentially the front door of Dalkia alone after all her comrades fell. However, she can't break through because the remaining enemies here are Luna and her squad. For this map, it's a straight line where you fight each woman one by one as you take down each stronghold. Each of the arenas has a different effect on it. The one in Age's arena actually scared me for the first time because of the whole ominous countdown. After defeating all of Luna's squad members, it's time to finally take on Luna herself. Before starting, Gerardo asks her if she's ever heard of Mooncalf. but she says she's never heard of her and then immediately challenges him to a fight. Sad.
So you've come. This time, it will not be like our previous encounters. See if you can defeat this sword.
Battle 1. Fight!
Yeah, so somehow she has SoulCalibur, and it's really strong, and heals her over time. Ooh, look! I've officially lost the same number of times that I've won. Yeah! Again, I lose, repeatedly. Yeah, I know, skill issue. And I give up and throw all my units at her. And again, this strategy somehow works. Luna is defeated and I win. Victory! Chronicle 12, the final act of war. The Dalkian special forces suddenly appeared and launched a counterattack. Gerardo cheers us on and says this war will soon be over. This is your time. It's your turn to change the future. Don't you die on me before then. A little late there, General. Queen Aurelia is annoyed at Luna and Chester's failure and decides to join the battle herself. Kirkus is somehow here and wants revenge against us. He and all the other soldiers charge right at me in a group and I get completely overwhelmed. They end up destroying my main stronghold and I need to start again. Since I know what they're gonna do this time, I'm able to easily defend it, at least. Rosie even gets to be the one to land the final hit on Kirkus. After successfully breaking through the rest of the enemy strongholds, I go on to fight Queen Aurelia.
So, you've come. Worthless servant of strife, you shall pay with your blood. For daring to defy me!
Battle 1. Fight!
I kid you not, I actually managed to beat her with Rosie.
It looks like I'm just too strong for you.
Yes, she's finally representing me well. With that, the war finally came to an end. However, we move on to Chronicle 13, Secession. Now that Dalkia, Haltis, and Maletta have all been defeated, you might be wondering, who is there left to fight? Well, that would be a rebel army led by none other than Gerardo. It's been 1 year since the fall of the Dalkian capital, and Rosie has been made captain of the anti-rebellion force. She's ordered to take out Gerardo and his soldiers, which also includes civilians in their ranks. But honestly, if we think back to that conversation between Gerardo and who I'm assuming was Emperor Strife about the reinforcements thing, can we really blame him? Obviously something is up with Strife when you also keep in mind that he ordered our tiny unit to attack Dalkia alone. Either way, we're ordered to strike him down, even though Rosie thinks he must have a reason for this. Abelia will be joining the fight as well, which is good since my entire roster of fighters are gone. They've been replaced by these guys. Well, I guess it has been a year. Speaking of, I think it actually makes sense here to finally update Rosie's overall appearance. With that in mind, I went to the shop to go on a little shopping spree. After that, I tried to customize her to get her as close as possible to my actual appearance. Excluding the cat ears, of course. Here is her final look. Hi. While in the battle, I noticed that Abelia feels far more aggressive here. I don't know if it's her new outfit change or what, but I don't know, something just feels different about her. The enemy this level has some interesting tactics, but I handle them all the same. Also, I was going to head along this route until I noticed it dead ends at this tent with Keelik and Xianghua inside. Nope. Whatever they're doing in that tent, they can just keep on doing, having at it. Just gonna avoid them and mind my business. At this Egyptian-themed main stronghold, very cool by the way, I face Brunhild, who says we're on Strife's leash and asks if we've learned nothing from General Gerardo. Abelia, however, doesn't really care. Okay, so this fight is incredibly annoying because you're constantly being pushed away from her. I made so many attacks that would have normally landed, but just straight up missed because of it. I even managed to get a ring out, but because of all the pushing, I managed to fall in first.
You're not going anywhere.
It's this fight that made me realize I need another fighter with a long weapon, since all my previous fighters that had a weapon like that were all taken from me. After finally taking her down, we come to Chronicle 14, Tragedy Born of Struggle. Somehow, without noticing, we end up surrounded by the rebels. They seem, however, to be acting strangely and are specifically targeting Rosie. As it turns out, Chester is still alive, but with gray hair this time. Pretty sure their time skip was a year, not 50, but anyway. He's speaking with Emperor Strife about Rosie's current battle. Strife mentions that he wants Gerardo to be captured alive. Then next, he says to Chester, "One more thing. Yes? I dislike you." Oh, okay, random, but alright. Because I still need a fighter with far-reaching attacks, I decided to stop for a second and make a new character to fit the bill. Thankfully, you have the choice to create 2 new characters if you want at any time of your playthrough. Since right now the majority of my units are all female, I decided to go with a male character. I noticed that the barbarian job has a picture of a guy with a giant axe, so I'd say that's the perfect job to choose. Hopefully. I keep the creation process extremely short by leaving him with the default appearance. Since he's coming to my rescue here, I decide to call him Dat Boy. He certainly looks the part. Now we cut to everyone's surprised that we're subtly surrounded. Wait, weren't we in a desert just a second ago? How did we end up in this marshland? Okay, whatever. All of the enemy units are after Rosie. So I place her in the main stronghold and need to defend both her and it with the other 3 units. After positioning everyone accordingly, I start to get worried about that boy going up against level 14 opponents when he's only level 1. Well, whether I like it or not, it's time for his debut fight. And oh my goodness, would you look at this. Dat Boy Rex! From there, Dat Boy continues taking out more and more enemies like it's nothing. Man, I knew I needed someone like this. Along with Abelia and Luca here, we easily fight off all the approaching enemies and charge the main enemy stronghold, where this guy Ignis is.
I've come up with a new recipe.
Abelia decides to throw some shade at him by saying, "Even the best strategy won't help you if you can't lead your soldiers in the battlefield." Girl, now you know you shouldn't be talking. Although Dat Boy takes his first loss here, we're able to deal with Ignis nonetheless.
Recipe.
Tina and Abelia realize that these were apparently Grandall's soldiers helping the rebels. While Tina's utterly shocked by this, Abelia doesn't seem to care that much. Again. Chronicle 15, Receding Memory. Emperor Strife himself decides to appear and acknowledge Rosie's achievements. Rosie hears him talking under his breath that he wants Gerardo to be captured and executed. Rosie questions what she's doing while thinking about what Gerardo would say. It seems we'll be fighting on the same field as her final test against the general, and although she wants to shake those memories from her head, she simply can't. Gerardo is expected to appear this time, and she wonders how she'll greet her former teacher. Sure enough, our only victory condition this time is defeating him. Man, I don't want to fight Gerardo. He's a pretty cool guy. I still remember when he called us baby birds. During the battle, after taking my first stronghold, Abelia realizes that the enemy was hiding and waiting for us to move away from our main stronghold so they could charge and attack it. She immediately orders everyone to fall back. I did look in these tents or strongholds and saw these units sitting in here and marked as cavalry units, but I don't know, I just kind of figured they weren't going to be a big deal. It's fine, I deal with them all, we're good. Eventually, we make it to Gerardo. He tries to get through to Abelia, but she says she has nothing to say to a traitor and tells him to draw his weapon. Jeez, she acts like he's spit in her drink or something. Hilariously, Dat Boy is the one to confront him in the cutscene.
So you've come.
Battle 1, fight!
Gerardo, unfortunately for me, is a spammer. Bro just won't stop. He knows like 3 different attacks total.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And because of his arena effect, Impregnable, he's able to continuously keep attacking me even when I hit him. Oh yeah, and did I mention he's level 60? Thankfully, I'm able to defeat him, and because of the whole can't hit him thing, he just kinda yells and sits down upon being defeated. Despite that though, in the cutscene, he's now laying down on the floor.
You are strong, but you do not yet know where to direct that power. Right now, your strength is controlled by others. Think for a moment. For whom do you wield your power? For what purpose? And against whom? You must learn to control that strength yourself. Otherwise, you will never become a true warrior.
Okay. Emperor Strife shows up randomly and delivers the final blow to poor Gerardo. He was already gonna die, man. Why'd you do that? And he was using Soul Edge, the cursed sword. While everyone goes quiet after seeing this, Abelia coldly says that since we've subdued the entire rebel force, she's returning to the capital. Jeez, girl, did you even like Gerardo? Chronicles 16, Carrying on a Legacy. 3 years ago, she had decided she wanted to be a protector and had taken up the sword. 2 years ago, she had realized that she didn't even know what it was she was protecting. 1 year ago, the war had ended, but through all the battles, she had found no answers. Yesterday, she had lost something very important. She didn't realize just how important it was to her until it was gone. And now, once again, she would take up the sword to rebel of her own free will against the Empire. Your new comrades decide to stay by your side, explaining that their only orders are to follow your commands. Before departing, though, we're confronted by one of the rebels we fought, Theophon. Yuilin explains we're trying to avenge Gerardo. Shouldn't we just attack ourselves then? Well, I guess it was Strife that finished him off, so Theophon, I think, attacks Yuilin here? I'm not too sure, since it's told based on reactions. He's ticked off about us becoming rebels only after attacking them several times and Gerardo's death, but is convinced to come along after Luca just straight up invites him in. I figure this was done because he's our replacement for Abelia leaving, since they wield the same weapon. In this level, I thought I needed higher leveled fighters for this section, and because of the 3-fighter limit this time around, I made the fatal mistake of not taking that boy along. I think I was mainly pushed to do this because I managed to unlock Xianghua's discipline for Dancer, and since she was another character I played a lot in the past, I figured I might be able to fight well enough without bringing that boy. Turns out, I don't remember how to play Xianghua at all. Okay, so I noticed here on this level that Talon was actually inside one of these strongholds, and although I know I'm gonna lose, I just can't resist attempting to fight my main. Unfortunately, stupid young son gets in the way, and I don't get the chance. So now, I get to this stronghold. This stronghold made me want to break something. Its arena effect is separation. So I just slowly move away constantly from the opponent at all times. She's really strong and has a weapon that heals her. And I swear she reads my inputs. It feels like I'm barely doing any damage while she does a lot. This particularly sucks because all of my 3 fighters are short-ranged, so I can't really get around the separation effect. I try to change up my tactics, like trying to get a ring out on her, but that doesn't work. I switch up my weapons, that also doesn't work. Literally nothing works. So upon all of this, I realized, yeah, I need someone with a far-reaching weapon. Because of that, I decided I needed to start over and bring that boy along. So I throw all my soldiers at this enemy, and they become sacrifices on the altar of getting a game over. I also think using weapons with buffs that do chip damage when the opponent is blocking is a good strat, so I try to equip everyone with either that and or a weapon that heals them over time so I can fight a little longer. There might be a better way of doing this that I'm unaware of, but I can't figure out what half the effect icons even mean, so I just gotta go with what I know. So, I start the level again, and that boy is already making a world of a difference. He's so good he defeats 3 enemies stronger than him on his own.
See that?
We do, dat boy. We do. I finally make it back to that stupid stronghold, and dat boy manages to defeat the first opponent that's in there on his very first try. I end up, though, once again, trying over and over and over to defeat this enemy. Even with dat boy's help, it seems impossible, and I once again considered ending my video here. But when all hope seems lost, dat boy came back to remind us that hope was within us all along.
Those who have forgotten their instincts are no match for me.
Dat boy, he's dat boy! After over an hour of attempts, this stronghold is finally ours! Then I get to this main stronghold, and the enemy inside makes me think of quitting again. But I used my lucky strat of just throwing all my units at him and hoping it works out. I kid you not. Who else saves us here but dat boy? Women love him. Men want to be him. Dat boy is truly an inspiration to us all. Tina notices that these soldiers were too prepared, as if they knew we were coming. From this, she pieces together that the Emperor's real objective wasn't General Gerardo. And Yuilin realizes that the Grandall soldiers who surrounded us before, and we thought were part of the rebels, were actually agents of the Emperor, sent to deal with me. That's crazy. But you know, if that's the case, Strife really could have just killed us back when he stabbed Gerardo. I don't know why he didn't. Chronicles 17, Broken Bonds. Grandall is now aware that Rosie has rebelled, and Emperor Strife declares her an enemy. The entire Grandall army is sent to destroy her. Their preparations were completed quickly, and it's almost as if they were waiting for us to rebel. Oh no, we have to fight our former comrades this time. They're shocked to see Rosie is the one they need to subdue. This guy demands they comply or they'll be executed. They're still not sure how to deal with this until he uses sword fragments from Soul Edge received from the Emperor and hypnotizes them to fight. Luckily, Eileen and Jinkai return to give us a helping hand. Oh, we're back on that map we faced Looney Luna on for the first time. I really don't want to fight my friends, but I have no choice. They're each in a stronghold that blocks the way to the main one. We eventually face Aeneas, our very first comrade, and although I choke, that boy handles it. I then go on to take the main stronghold after fighting Mega and that big evil man. After winning, Aeneas and the others come back to their senses and decide to join us. But only the ones you fought. Yeah, I didn't know that, so I only got 2 of them. Chronicle 18, Colliding Beliefs. At the front of the massive Grandall army, we see the figure of Abelia. The entire area seems to fall silent. Abelia's mouth opens slowly, and the order that came forth shattered the silence. Attack. Strife is told that Abelia's force has been deployed, and then he remarks on how easy it is to apparently manipulate people. The weakness and pain in everyone's hearts. All it takes is a slight push, and the rest will roll along on its own. Well, you are the Emperor. No duh, people are gonna do what you say. Abelia, after coming to terms with the path we've chosen, mentions that this is the battlefield we had our practice battle with her on, and that it's the perfect stage for our showdown. Well, gee, now that you mention it, this is that same map. Well, now that she's a hardened commander, I'm sure Abelia is gonna be a tough opponent. So, we reach the main stronghold, Confrontabilia.
I will not lose against a traitor, even if it is you.
And then win. Never fixed that strategy problem of yours, did you, Abelia? She then says I haven't changed a bit since the past. Yeah, same to you. Chronicle 19, at the end of the beginning. Here we get to read a bit of SoulCalibur lore because we're told about SoulCalibur and Soul Edge. Rosie realizes that the cursed sword, Soul Edge, must be the one that Strife wielded to kill Gerardo. She also recalls the sword that can seal it, SoulCalibur, which Luna used. How it is she realizes that these swords are the same mentioned in literal legends is, I guess, beside the point. When she thought of SoulCalibur, she also wondered what Luna was doing now. Huh? I thought Luna was dealt with? You mean she's alive? Okay? Now we've arrived at the capital city of the Grandall Empire, Perusia. We've almost reached the final battle. As a fortress city, it's extremely defended, and our unit appears to be having trouble. Then Luna appears, literally right after we mentioned her, and decides to help us out. She also gives us SoulCalibur, I think. Apparently, Gerardo asked her to watch out for me in case anything happened to him? Uh-huh. She says she holds no grudges since her comrades are all okay anyway. Wait, what? Wait, why was Gerardo even following her around to say this in the first place? They're from completely different countries. I don't get this, but okay. Anyway, she's on our side now, apparently. Then Abelia appears and orders her unit to support us. Aw, I knew you couldn't be that cold of a person. Gonna just ignore the fact that you and Looney Luna are crazy and let you join. Women.
A lot of you guys are underestimating how important vibes are in a team scenario.
This time we'll be facing Chester yet again. Bro just doesn't know when to let it go, does he? It's not my fault your little crew failed. While checking out every stronghold, I find this guy who's at level 99. Okay. I know I'll lose, but I gotta see what this battle is like. I challenge him, he hits me with the "it's nothing personnel kid," and then he proceeds to wipe the floor with my face.
Women.
So, after fighting a while, getting some nice wins with that boy, and having moments where I genuinely got angry, I make it to Chester. I even managed to get another win on Rosie, even though it had been a while by that point. Then I faced Chester and failed so many times that, I'm sorry, but I ended up quitting this playthrough and nah, JK, that boy! Also, Chester's dying message is so nonchalant, like, he even slips a good grief in there. Bro's completely checked out. Now we come to the final chronicle, Return to Tomorrow. Soldiers cowering before the Emperor's power, civilians suffering because of war, power that uses young people as weapons. General Gerardo had seen what was happening to the Empire and gave his life for its sake. Rosie knew what she needed to do. She now knew what she truly wanted to protect. People cling to power in numbers out of fear of being hurt, chastising that which is good as if it were evil, persecuting those who do not follow the masses. Telling themselves they cannot grow strong, they hide within their shells of denial. But Rosie would no longer run from herself. Strife. Rosie quietly stepped forward. Having now arrived inside the Emperor's throne room, the conditions for victory are simple. We must defeat Strife. We're ready to begin, but there's one vital thing I must do. I think you'll all agree with me that that boy deserves a reward for helping us get this far. I head to the shop and purchase a fitting crown for that boy because he truly is a king. Although a humble man, he wears the people's crown with honor. That boy, you truly deserve it. This final chronicle has no strongholds. It's simply just getting from point A to point B. We need to reach Strife, who's all the way at the end while keeping as many healthy soldiers alive as possible. Mainly because the last confrontation is a mandatory one-on-one SoulCalibur battle with him. No teams and no overworld fighting. There's a bunch of creepy soldiers up ahead who, Abili explains, have cast aside their lives as human beings to become the ultimate soldiers. I don't like our chances. I decide to attack them in overworld fights because I don't trust my skills in SoulCalibur battles. These soldiers definitely hit a lot harder, and I'm finding it difficult to just make it to Strife without losing anybody. I do attempt to fight them in a real battle, but yeah. Well, since I lost 2 fighters already, I doubt this run will be the one, but I attempt to fight Strife anyway. Whoa. Dude has a freaky eye situation going on there. Yeah, he mad. I have Dat Boy go first. I'm sure with him acting as Vanguard, we can quickly get Strife's health down for the subsequent battles and... Oh dear. Since he's wielding Soul Edge, he's extremely powerful, heals gradually over time, and... predicts every move I make, conveniently. My only advantage is, since there's no strongholds, he can't heal, but it doesn't really matter anyway since Soul Edge heals him and the battles only last a couple seconds. Well, let's just give it a shot. You never know. Ooh, and there's a cutscene when the protagonist challenges him. Neat.
You really stand out too much. The people love you. Such an irritating sight to behold. But now, I regret not killing you myself when I had the chance.
Final battle, fight!
This battle doesn't last too long. 3 kicks and I was done. But I make a bunch of attempts after this. On the overworld, I try to stagger my units to control the HP loss between them so I can have more of it during my fight with Strife, but yeah, that doesn't work. I switch out weapons, soldiers, routes to Strife. You name it. I just can't do it. And I'm not psyching you out this time. I can't even win with Dat Boy. I try everything, but after making so many attempts and being forced to rewatch his unskippable cutscene so much, I officially gave up after over an hour of attempts. It sucks since I was literally at the end. I recognized this level vaguely, so this is as far as I've ever gotten. I know I've never seen the ending. I thought maybe after all these years, my brain could kind of figure out the secret, but sadly, I'm the same filthy casual. So, whatever, Strife. I guess you win. Maybe I'll return someday to give it another shot, but this is the best I can do for now. It was nice reliving some fond memories of playing SoulCalibur III. I can't believe I even forgot so much about it, especially the art style, graphics, and music. In fact, deep down, this game is the reason I prefer double exclamation marks, as silly as that is. My skills have not improved after all this time, but at least it was a fun experience. The actual fighting gameplay itself was a blast, and I laughed a lot at the silly things you can pull off. The Chronicles of the Sword mode has a really interesting story, but the RTS gameplay can be slow and quite repetitive. I distinctly remember feeling pretty bored when I had to repeat sections or when strongholds had a lot of health. Although some actions described in the dialogue can be unclear and the characters who are implied to be dead reappearing constantly was a little confusing, the themes addressing the nature of war were handled so maturely and realistically that I really gotta applaud the writing here. It's just too bad I couldn't see the conclusion to this tale. In the end, my playthrough took 15 hours and 33 minutes. Well, although I couldn't beat Chronicles of the Sword, at least we got to meet that legend, that king, Dat Boy. Without him, we couldn't have gotten this far, and for that, he will always be Dat Boy. Everyone give him another round of applause. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe! You can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram at StarrieRosiePop. Until next time, everyone, Shine on! Priority is to hold our current position, regardless of casualties to Rosie's unit. I expect to hear of your success. Grr! Why would he say Gerardo says it like an anime girl. Why'd that make me laugh so hard, bro?